Hi, friends. I'm Emily and you're listening to the Simplified podcast. If you're looking for a quiet place where you can filter out the noise and the hustle, this is it. Every week, I invite you to slow down and join me to explore practical ways to organize and automate the complicated parts of life so you can focus on what truly matters most. Well, love is in the air and we're feeling it here at Simplified. If you are a bride-to-be or have a friend or family member who's planning her big day, we want to help. You can keep track of all the wedding details with the Simplified Wedding Planner. We have all the checklists you'll ever need with suggestions on how far out you need to plan for every little thing and keep it all on track. These wedding planners make an elegant gift for a friend or a beautiful tool to make sure your own big day is sweet and memorable. You can get your Simplified Wedding Planner today at emilylay.com. At some point in our relationships, we reach the point where we think we know everything about the other person. There couldn't possibly be anything we don't know. And gradually, we just stop getting to know them. I don't think it's intentional. It's not like any of us wake up and think, you know what? I'm just not going to get to know my person any better today. I think we're good here. It's just one of those things, right? When it comes to romantic relationships, after all the butterflies come and go, after you settle into your rhythm together, there's not a lot of fireworks and bombshell moments. At the beginning of a relationship, it can feel like finding a person you jive with is like stumbling across a gold mine. Your mind goes bananas as you try and uncover as much as you can. But after a while, you're lucky if you come across one little nugget you didn't know was there. But you know what? After all this time, I still like to uncover those little nuggets, don't you? It's crazy to me that after all these years, I can still hear something new about Bryan's life, whether it's something that happened before we met, or a new story or opinion he has that I didn't know about. I still get excited to hear why he likes me, and we've been married almost 14 years. And it warms me up like nothing else to watch him be the thoughtful, caring father I always knew he would be. These last couple years, I think we're more aware than ever that our relationships are the most important things in our lives. That's why I'm thankful for holidays like Valentine's Day, as cheesy as it feels sometimes, because we have a built-in day to tell our people how much we love them. Sometimes it's fun to say it with candy hearts and roses, but I think it's even more fun to spend some time together doing what I enjoy most, sitting and talking and laughing. So in the spirit of Valentine's Day, I'm hosting Bryan on the show for a special kind of episode. We're going to play a couple games today. They're storytelling games, and we're going to see if we can uncover some of those little nuggets, and I'm inviting you to join in on the fun. There were a few surprises and a whole lot of laughs here. It was such a fun conversation. Start listening to hear two people who have been together for almost 2 decades make each other laugh like crazy, but stay for some questions you can ask your own people, because our relationships are more fun and more interesting when we stay curious about the people we love. So here we go. Here is my special Valentine's Q&A with Mr. Bryan Lay. Hey, Bryan.
Hi, friends.
Welcome to the show.
I like the hi, friends thing. I can do it now. I'm in the community.
You do a great job. First of all, I'm so excited to have you back on the show.
Yes.
Welcome.
I mean, after all the requests that you got.
Of course. The
right?
best listened to episode, like almost maybe ever, was our last episode where we talked about finances, which was really fun. But we are going to do a special Valentine's Day episode for you today. We're going to do 2 games, okay? And game 1 is a game that we are calling I Have Something to Tell You. So I'm going to start a sentence and I want you to finish it. And I might ask you a follow-up question or 2 if I'm more curious about your answer.
Okay.
And then you get to ask me the same question. So it's kind of a storytelling game, and I'm going to mix it up. What I think of when I look at our wedding photo is ...
Okay. Now, is this what I think you think of or what I think I think of?
What you.
The obvious is my hairline was a lot lower. Right? I mean, I was young.
You have great hair.
I was young. No, you know what? For me, look, the obvious is our wedding day, friends and family. But for me too, like that was also a trip back to Pensacola where I didn't live at the time.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was kind of neat to come back to Pensacola to get married, where I didn't live, and I hadn't lived in, almost 10 years. So it was a pretty cool experience for me to come back to Pensacola with friends from Tampa who had never been here, and kind of throw a banger of a party. And
It was a banger of a
and
party.
get married. And I think, and I don't know about wedding photos, but I think of like the Cajun food we had at our wedding. That was awesome.
Did you eat it?
Yeah, of course.
I don't remember. I don't remember eating. I just remember. I remember the weather. So when I look at our wedding photos, I remember like the weather being absolutely amazing. It was the first cool day in Florida or in Pensacola that year. It was October 18th, 2008. And then I also remember walking down the aisle and everyone was looking at me with the funniest look on their face. And my dad was trying to hold it together and you were up there and it was just, I don't know.
You know what I think is funny? Looking back at photos, when we actually, when every bride is getting married, they swear they're not going to do the bridesmaid's dress.
Yeah.
That is like, can never be worn. I'm not going to do the tacky thing that they can never wear again.
Like taffeta.
But yet, by the way, they all do it. Like, you can't avoid it.
You can't avoid it.
You said all those things.
I know.
And we look back at your bridesmaids' dresses.
They were bad.
They were terrible.
No, they weren't. Okay, listen. I knew we were going to go right there. Right into it on the first question. So our wedding... So this was before like Pinterest and wedding magazines were a big thing. Like just was before everything. And I wanted a really like classic wedding. I wanted to look back on our pictures, 100 years later and be like, that was beautiful. And I do think that it does. So our wedding, and this may surprise some of you, it was black and white was our wedding colors. It was black, ivory, white. And then the color we brought in through flowers that were just like natural, like pinks and greens and that kind of thing. I thought it was very pearls. Like, I thought it's very classy. Mm-hmm. And the bridesmaids' dresses could totally be worn again.
Yeah. We're going to do a survey of her
If you were a bridesmaid at my wedding, please
have you
submit.
ever worn that dress ever again?
I mean, I will borrow it from you. I think you should. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to I owe you a thank you for ...
Oh, boy.
I made the bed this morning.
No, well, I mean, thank you for making the bed this morning.
I actually didn't make it. It's still unmade.
Well, then I take it back. Okay, how much time do we have? Okay, long story short, we lived in Tampa, perfectly happy in Tampa. I'm doing...
I've waited years for this, thank you.
We are doing great in Tampa, and I've got an amazing job in Tampa with people that I love working with in a position that I'm excelling at. Yeah. And I'm good at it, and I could have done it for the next 30 years. Like, it was one of those spots where the better you do, the easier it gets, down the road. It was just going to continue to be a great job, a great career. And Emily had been pushing me to move to Pensacola, and I can't say I hid behind. I mean, I'm financially didn't always make sense, and I was very happy with where I was and what I was doing. Mm-hmm. I was working at an agency I really enjoyed, and she eventually really pushed the agenda. You can fill in the blanks, but she
a lot of kids.
She pushed the agenda, and she didn't strong arm the move here, but she strong armed the move here, and I moved here with a little bit of a resentment in my heart, but knowing that it was probably going to be best for my kids. Like, I knew that it was going to be great for you, being near your family, and the thing that pushed it was I knew it was going to be great for my kids. I knew our kids were going to grow up in your family, that they would see more often. My family lived somewhat closer to Tampa, but we didn't see each other as much. And so I thought, well, the memories in a town like Pensacola would be better. And so, sure, let's do it. Even though, like, I'm going to be miserable, I'll take one for the team. I'll be the martyr. And it didn't work out that way. It worked out that, like, I've loved every minute of it. And I'm really happy we're here. And had you not forced the agenda, it absolutely would never have happened, because I was perfectly content with where I was in Tampa. So big thank you. You'll never get that thank you again, but you're getting it right now.
I've been waiting on that for since 2018. Oh, that makes me happy. No, I do feel like you're so happy here. Yeah, I'm so happy. I love it here. Out. It has. It's worked out for all of us. I really appreciate. Thank you for teaching me that there should be more jelly on the bread and less peanut butter. I do think it is a better sandwich.
You've never even admitted to me until right now that I was ever right.
I know.
Let alone a thank you.
Thank you.
Hot dog. I knew it.
When we make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I used to believe there should be more peanut butter until I had one with more jelly, and I will stand firm on you put butter in the pan when you make scrambled egg. But yes, he doesn't put anything in the pan when he makes a scrambled egg, and it drives me nuts. But the PBJ, really good. Thank you, Brian.
And by the way, we're not talking about globs of jelly. Like, just go a little easy on the peanut butter.
Yeah.
And make it the proportions accurate. You're good. You're in good shape.
So we did discover a jelly that we love, a jam. Whatever.
It's a jam.
Okay, in Paris, and it's I don't remember what it's called, but I will link it in the show notes. It's Bon, starts with an M. You can get it at Target or Publix or anywhere. It's the best on the PBJ.
Good. Really good.
It is really good. Okay, I have other things.
I went really deep on my.
Do you want me to go deep?
And you're like, you taught me how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay.
If that's how this is gonna go, let me know.
All right. So, I mean, I tell you this all the time, but thank you for pushing me out of my comfort zone in so many ways. I mean, moving to Tampa was so far outside of my comfort zone. I didn't even go away to college. I stayed at home. That changed me as a human, literally, because I had to sink or swim, and I might have sunk for a little while. I floundered when I first got there and just was in miserable jobs, and then finally got my company to where I wanted it to be. And we were just talking earlier about how the night that we decided that I was going to go full time, we went to Steak and Shake and bought this huge greasy bags of burgers and fries and ate them. And it's one of my favorite memories at our old house. That's how we celebrated. But I would not have done so many things in my life that were outside of the status quo, I wouldn't have pushed so hard if it weren't for you, and I tell people this all the time, I feel like you're even more entrepreneurial than I am.
I'm just a risk taker.
Well, that's what an entrepreneur
sometimes
is.
It takes
that
pulling the trigger.
Well, and it's a grit. It's I've always had a grit about me, but not I'm a hard worker, but I don't necessarily enjoy breaking the routine, stepping out of the comfort zone. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for getting a little deeper.
Giving you a second.
Yes.
I mean, the PB&J is a big deal. If you're a mom, you're making sandwiches. Right. I'm just saying. Okay. Let's see. This one could be a really good one. A time you've helped me change my mind was...
Never. I'm not even going to try to answer that question.
Come on.
I mean, after about 14 years, you just now admitted to me that my peanut butter and jelly was right. And now you want...
I did I mean, you've changed your mind on a lot of things.
Yeah, because I have to. That's the easiest question you're going to ask me during this whole podcast.
Oh, man. I actually don't even have an answer for that. I thought yours might be really good.
When have you ever changed your mind on anything?
Me?
Why
would I need to? I'm always right.
Bingo.
Okay, we're going to move on. Next question. A story I hope our kids will tell about you one day is. So it's a story that you hope our kids will tell about me, and then I will tell one that I hope our kids will tell about you.
A story about you.
About me.
That they tell.
You hope that they will remember a memory or whatever.
I don't know about all three kids. I mean, first of all, they're all such different ages, right? So, I mean, my 6-year-olds, who knows what they're going to remember. But I think I have a good one for Brady. What? I think your first book, Brady went to a signing with you, a book signing.
Oh, he did.
And he got all dressed up. He dressed himself up. And he came down and he was looking dapper. He put on his glasses and he put on a blazer. He tucked in his shirt. He had a belt on.
And if you have a boy that's like 8, 9, 10 years old, you know how difficult that is.
He was decked out. And he goes to this book signing, and he was part of it, right? So he got to welcome everybody that was coming up to meet with you and have their book signed and what have you.
Yeah.
And he was just so charming and so polite. And he got to see you in that element really not for the first time, but like first time up close. And I thought that it was a great memory for him, great memory for you certainly, and me. But I hope he remembers that.
He was like, people would come up and be like, hey, I drove all the way from Mobile to come to this. And we were at a local bookstore here in Pensacola. And he would look at them, and this was pre-COVID, and he would shake their hand and he would say, well, Mobile, Alabama, what a great city to come from.
8 years old.
And I was like, who are you? I mean,
Right.
Brady Lay for president.
Right.
I keep thinking he's outside our door.
He was. He heard me say his name.
He did?
He walked away.
He's amazing. Yes, I love that. I hope that our kids will tell stories about. So I feel like you have something with each kid that makes them think of you as someone that's like a friend. Like they could come to you about anything, and it's silly things like you call Caroline Buttercup from Princess Bride.
Yes, as you wish. You haven't seen it. She just
Just
watched
it.
Makes you almost un-American.
I know.
It's a great movie.
It's so good. We watched it during COVID when we were quarantined. With Tyler, you have so when we tuck the kids in at night, I have this whole thing with Tyler that I do, but Brian comes in and he has this like bro handshake.
Yes.
It's like I can't even. You got to do it, or you got to explain it. It's just
like a handshake.
It's a secret handshake, basically. Yeah. But it's just so funny. And then they do that thing where they grab hands and they like bump shoulders.
The bro hug.
Whatever. Tyler's like our sweet little string bean of a kid, and it's so cute, and I absolutely just love it because they take it so seriously. Like Tyler's just like, yeah, man, like he just goes in.
Yeah.
And then obviously Brady, like I love all the sports things you have in common with Brady. I actually told him in the car today, like, I'm not sure what your dad put in your bottle as a kid to make you like a football whiz, but like he like invented you or did something to you to make you this way, because Brady knows more about football than maybe Brian.
Yeah, he's getting there. Well, he just has a better general memory than I do. Like he can recall almost everything. Yeah. So like, I'm sorry if I don't remember who the 6th wide receiver is for the Cleveland Browns. He does.
He absolutely does. Yeah. Anyway, that's amazing, and I think that's wonderful. Okay. My favorite story about us is the only one. Like you get one favorite story. About us. Oh, you have to pick the right story. This is a pass fail.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's mine, so I guess it's not a pass fail. But what's yours?
Here we go. So many. Favorite story.
Do you want me to go first? What do you think?
Yes.
Okay. So, and maybe this is my favorite because it's my perception of it, but this is the story of how we met. So, I was 16 years old, and my parents finally agreed to let me have my first job. And I was in color guard in high school. It was very cool where I was. It was a big deal. We practiced all the time. Absolutely loved it. And when I was 16, my parents finally said, like, you can get a job working 1 day a week. And so I went to my favorite restaurant where they had a carousel, like, in the restaurant. And we used to go there for my birthday every year and sit in the carousel and eat our dinner. And I applied for a job, and I got the job. I was a hostess at a restaurant. And so I would pull up to this restaurant, and I had a boyfriend at the time in high school, but there was this guy that worked there that was a server/bartender, and he was in college, and I was in high school, but I just thought he was so cute. I thought he had the cutest smile. I thought he was so funny, and he drove a red Jeep, and I just thought it was so cute. And so we, like, talked to each other at work. He gave me, like, an Ernie car that a kid left on a table one time, and I saved it. But I just always thought he was really cute, and I always called him by his first and last name. And fast forward 9 years or so, I had dated someone else for a very long time. You had dated other people for a very long time. We were suddenly both single, and a friend called me and said, hey, I'm at this bar, sports bar, and you know who wants to see you. And I was like, I am not interested. I don't care who it is. I'm not. And she was like, it's Bryan Lay. And I was like, I'm coming.
You see how that works? Huh?
And Bryan was the server / bartender / whatever. But I always just thought, and
That was my move, by the way.
You did to all the girls.
Yeah.
I like blush at this, but to be like totally honest, like I just thought he hung the moon. And no matter which route my life would have taken, I would have always thought about like, where did he end up? He was so cute and so nice. And I remember you were like really ambitious, and I thought that was really cool at a young age. So that's my story.
Yeah, I'm not going to top that story. That's a great story of us. This is, I mean, you have a friend, and I don't remember who it is, but they talk about their family and they say like, we do hard things.
Christy
Tyner, yes. And I love that slogan, by the way. So I hope they don't have it trademarked. But we do hard things, right? And I tend to like think about some of those and things that we've overcome. And I remember, your business at the time was just, barely a business, right? You're doing anything you can online to make a couple bucks. You're doing graphic design work for people, and you've got this idea for these planners, and you've sold a couple notepads, but it's time to like get real, and it's time to make like an order, and it's time to like,
oh gosh,
it's time to go.
Yeah.
And the way that it works with printing, right? The more quantities, the better cost per item you get. And we were looking at a pretty big number, and it was more money than we had. And
we had it.
But it was all of it.
It was all of it.
And so I remember, we opened up the wine. We were stressing out. I remember you getting very emotional about the commitment, because if we didn't sell anything, like you have to pay for it all up front with manufacturing and this particular manufacturer. And so we were going to have to write this check with all of our money, and it was a lot of pressure on your business to sell it. And what if we don't sell it? Well, that would not be good, but we'll get through it. And
this was a couple of rounds in. Like we had done the first ones that we messed up, and then we did a couple more. And this was a place where we were going. It was a big order.
We were going big.
It had like a comma in the number.
Yes.
And I remember us being like,
had more than one comma in the number.
No, it had one comma. Not well. I mean, in the number of inventory.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yes. And so, long story short, is that Emily was very emotional. She was crying. She was sad. She was stressed out. I was stressed out. But I wrote a note. I wrote a letter, and it was a letter to her, letting her know that everything was going to work out, and it was going to be great, and this was the next step for the business, and there was no reason to stress out about it. We're going to write the check. We're going to move forward with the inventory, and then we're just going to go and do it. And I made her sign it.
You left out a part. Do you remember what else was on that note?
No.
We're going to make the IVF appointment.
Oh, my. I don't...
It was the same time.
Okay.
So and it was so much that it was just so heavy and so...
Yeah.
Like, our life, it was like a weird crossroads. Like, are we pulling the trigger?
Right.
In every direction?
And if we're poor, how do we afford IVF? And
right. Yeah.
So, I just remember I made you sign it.
Yeah.
You forgot all about that letter.
Uh-huh.
And then a year later, when we were sold out of everything on like December 10th, like it didn't even make a full year. Like it didn't.
No,
like we sold out so fast.
So fast.
And we're through the moon because like it worked. And then I come in and I show you the letter that you signed that you'd forgotten all about, where I promised you everything would be okay, and it was.
I hope you always promise me everything will be okay. So far, you've gotten it right. Oh, I love that story. I forgot about that. Okay, let's see. Oh, I like this one. We'll do one more of these, and then I have another game, okay? After all these years, I'm still surprised that... ...
Well, oof. I mean, I'm surprised you're still here when I come home sometimes. I'm surprised that you still kind of put up with my shenanigans and you still think I'm funny, and you still laugh at me, and you still let me, even though you've kind of converted me from like Neanderthal status to like human being status. You're not trying to like
he organizes his closet, you guys.
Square peg round hole me. You kind of let me be me, and I do appreciate that. So I'm a little surprised by that.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
You thought I was going to square peg round hole you?
I've seen it happen to a few of my buddies out there. So I've got a lot of fallen soldiers.
That's nice
out there.
though. I mean, I know who I am and how I can be, so that's really sweet. I am still surprised that like you can make me laugh just as hard as you did in the beginning. You're a funny guy, and I tend to not think like I tend to take everything seriously, and so I appreciate that.
Of course.
All right, game
I'm
2.
Really funny.
You are funny. Game 2 is a game that we're calling I Guess I Know You Pretty Well. So we're going to play this one newlywed style. I'm going to start by reading you a sentence, and I want you to finish that sentence. But this time, I want you to answer it the way you think I would.
So I'm you.
My guess is this is going to get spicy real fast. So
this is not good.
I'm going to say, I love blank.
I need like a head start on you. This is
gonna be bad. You can't look. And then you're gonna be like, I love navy blue. Like that's what I would say, okay? And then I'll do it as if I'm you. Are you ready?
Okay.
I spend too much money on
everything.
You're me, not you.
I'm saying that me, Emily Lay, I spend too much money on everything.
I heard it.
Yes. Amazon. Like whatever is in the Amazon, like it's the delivery drivers, the FedEx guy fist bumps the UPS guy on their way out every day. Like
Let's talk about who's buying the kids' shoes and the kids' clothes and the lunch boxes.
Yeah. Yes, but it's still an Amazon box with your name on the box.
And this is true, but so I can also think of like I figured there would be a lot of other things you would have said before.
Well, so here's okay. Let's get real. Let's get real. Podcast. Let's go.
Oh, jeez.
How many of you do the declutter challenge? You ever heard of it? Right?
It's pretty good.
Right? Pretty big deal, right? Emily, the declutter queen. That's what she does. She throws everything away.
I do not.
Everything.
I do not.
So at least 86 times a year, we buy something that I've already owned that has been thrown away.
That is not true.
So here's my real answer. Let's rewind. Hey, edit team, bang me on this one. You spend too much money on stuff that we've already owned, bought, and thrown away.
I disagree.
Final answer.
I disagree. Does Bryan Lay need to get rid of all of the fraternity T-shirts that he owns from 1985 or whenever you were in a fraternity?
They're vintage now. I mean, those are worth something.
It wasn't 1985, but still, like I don't replace them.
You want to throw them away, don't
you?
I
only say.
You notice her go-to was, "Does Bryan need to throw away?" You see that?
His closet is a problem. But I believe in saving the best, the favorite, and the necessary. I don't bring in the things that we've gotten rid of. Tell the truth.
This goes back to I'm never going to convince you you're wrong. But let me tell you.
Next question. I knew this was going to happen. Next question.
Well, what do I spend too much money on?
Oh, bourbon?
Yeah,
okay,
not
like
I'm not going to argue
glasses of bourbon. Like he collects old, weird bourbons. I guess they're not weird.
Hard to find.
Yeah.
Allocated is the allocated is the proper word.
Oh, jeez.
See how official that sounded?
It sounded very official. Let's see. I'm most competitive when it comes to
you, my friend.
What?
Are hyper competitive. But it's like weird. Like
I know this.
It's not like, hey, let's all go in the backyard and race. Like
I don't like to run.
Right. But it's literally in it, like that gingerbread competition we have every year. You and your mom,
my mom, and Taylor.
Now Taylor, like it has gone. It's out of hand.
It's out of control.
Literally
We're changing it. We're changing the gingerbread house next year.
It's jumped the shark. Go look through the up house. It's just too much. So
it's epic. is what it was.
And yet, I know it eats at all of you that I have the most victories in the gingerbread house.
You do not.
Absolutely.
Caroline Lay does.
Not true.
Well, we're going to have to settle the score after this is over.
But yes, you're just very competitive, and it serves you, but you don't know when to turn it off sometimes, which is okay.
You are most competitive when it comes to small things. Like, do you put butter in the pan when you're making eggs? You will fight to the death on that. And like, how much you are most competitive when it comes to like the dumb things. Sorry.
I'll tell you what it is. It's the stuff that I know that I'm right about.
He's not right.
Right away. No. That I know it's just going to take you some time. But then by the time you realize that I was right, the moment will have passed. So just...
I will never make scrambled eggs without a fat in the pan. Oil, butter, ghee is also an option. He refuses.
So, full disclosure. Emily doesn't like it when I make myself my own eggs without butter.
Because they stink.
But they're like,
they burn.
For me, it's for me. When I make anyone else's eggs, I will put butter in it.
But eggs will burn if you don't put butter
right,
in the...
But they're my eggs. Like, it's for me.
But my house smells like burned scrambled eggs. See what I mean?
Yeah.
I just have so many thoughts.
This is
We
the
could do a
curtain.
whole...
We just peeled back the curtain.
Welcome
this
to
is
our
it.
marriage.
This
Welcome
is
to
it.
our marriage. Okay. This one's funny. At a party, you'll find me... ...
Well, it depends.
This is going to go one of two ways.
If we just get there and we don't know a whole lot of people yet, Emily is like inside of my shirt, under my heart, like hiding.
It is. I'm an introvert.
She does not.
I don't like it.
If we are around friends, and heaven forbid she's had a little bit of wine, she is loud, proud, and she talks with her hands. Like it is. Boop, boop, boop. Like it is. Let me tell you something. So like she literally like quantum leaps into this other person.
I can't breathe. It's so true.
It is the best. We call that person Spicy Sue.
Oh.
And she is my favorite.
My alter ego name is now out in the world.
Favorite person in the world. And so yeah, but she is polar opposite from the we just showed up at a party and don't know anybody Sue, who literally hides in like.
So by the way, he calls me Sue. He always has. My middle name used to be Suzanne. It got shortened to Emily Sue, and then it was Sue, and here we are. And everyone gets very confused when they're like, "Is your name Emily or is it Sue?" He calls me Sue. So Spicy Sue is my alter ego, apparently.
Yes.
Around my friends.
With your hands.
With my hands. Okay, moving on. The celebrity I'd want to play me in a movie is...
Tiffany Kelly Kapowski.
No, that's you.
That's Kelly Kapowski.
No,
You're Kelly Kapowski.
No, it has to be me. Like,
yes.
Who do I want?
My answer is not changing from Kelly Kapowski.
Not Tiffany Amber Thiessen, it's Kelly Kapowski.
Kelly Kapowski.
Okay. I was going to say that you would say Vince Vaughn for yourself.
Yes.
Who would I say for you? Zac Efron. Duh. You said Kelly Kapowski.
You're my Kelly Kapowski.
There
what
you
do
go.
you want me to tell you?
There you go. All right. If I didn't have this job, I would be...
Oh, you'd be sad.
I would be sad.
You'd be very sad. I don't know. I don't even want to think about I don't think you had gone into like teaching or anything. You were passionate about writing, but I don't know that you had a direction that you would have written.
I think I would own a business of some point.
Something.
Like I would have done something creative and off the wall.
Yeah.
I was just ready.
You didn't know how to do any of that stuff when you started.
No.
So you learned it all kind of on the go. So I think you would have started something like,
yeah.
It was really in the cards for you to figure something out because I think you realized fairly early in your career, right? At, I don't know, 20, how old were you in 2008?
25?
Yeah, 25, you realized like pretty quickly after only a handful of years out of college that you didn't really enjoy working for another person or a company.
Well, a huge organization.
Right, with checklists every day of tasks that were micromanaged. Like, so you weren't long for that anyway.
Mm-mm. I think you would be a stockbroker, a day trader, something like that.
Yeah.
Or banker.
I always thought I could, like, my best passion's always been real estate. So, like, I could see something in real estate, but
I can't imagine you doing that. I know you're passionate about it, but I can't imagine you doing it.
Stockbroker is what I went to college to do. Like, that's
Right.
what I was. So, yeah,
I
that's
like
fair.
it. If you catch me by the fridge at night, I'm probably sneaking.
You're snacking hard.
I'm a late night.
But you're not in the fridge.
No, I'm in the
You're
pantry.
in the pantry.
Right.
So if you're in the fridge, you're just lost. Like, I need to show you where the pantry. Like, I need to,
Right.
like, you've had too much wine. I gotta get you to the pantry.
I need like salty
Yeah,
snacks.
you don't snack at the fridge.
You are looking for M&Ms. Moving on. Lately, I've been getting better at ... And
I'm you.
Uh-huh.
You first.
I think you've been
Lately.
getting better at, like, saying you're sorry when you should.
Mm-hmm.
Tiptoeing around that one. Your turn.
You are getting better at relaxing about,
Do you mean this?
yes. Like, you're wound pretty tight.
I know
You're
this.
pretty organized, and when things don't go in your rhythm, whether it be dishes in the sink or one of the kids' rooms being clean or
Tends to throw me for a loop.
me not letting you know that I'm going to be home a few minutes late for dinner, like whatever, it really throws you off. And you're getting better about letting that slide.
I agree.
And it's been noticed. It's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Okay, let me just see if we got to all of them. We did. Do you have any parting words, Bryan Lay, for all those couples out there who are about to play this newlywed game? We'll put the questions that we asked in the show notes so that if you would like to print them out, you can.
Don't play this game. It can only get you in trouble.
That's not true.
No, it's a lot of work, and there's a lot of layers to relationships, and sometimes you just gotta laugh about it.
I agree. And I said this earlier, but like, everyone thinks marriage is going to be so easy and like it's just going to be your person and life is happy and sunshine and rainbows, but like it's not, because life isn't easy. Like, things happen and plans don't go as they, you think they will, and what's important is having someone that you can weather that with.
Yes, if life were easy, relationships would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
But life's not easy, and so the person who you're with tends to take on a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so so just be patient, be kind.
I think you're cute.
And throw it away.
And throw it away. We talked about that.
Yeah,
we did. Okay. All right, friends. Well, that concludes our interview. Au revoir.
Goodbye.
You guys, that was so fun. Bryan Lay, I swear, I still call him by his first and last name. He never ceases to surprise me, sometimes, with the things that come out of his mouth. But I love him to pieces, and I love it when he comes on here, because I think it's just the most fun conversations. I don't know. I just loved everything he said. I love the way that man can make me laugh. I love the little details that he remembers that I sometimes forget. And as we close out this episode, I want to do what we always do here and say a little blessing for you as we leave this time together and get back into our busy days. May you experience the gift of being deeply known and understood and loved for who you are. May you extend that gift to the special people in your life. And may you be surprised and delighted by learning and growing together for years to come. As always, I like to leave a little tip to help you put what we've talked about today into practice. So here is your task for this week. When it comes to the people we share our lives with, sometimes we think we know everything about them. But as you can tell from today, that's clearly not the case. Sometimes you just need to ask a few questions to unearth some hidden gems. Try having your own Q&A night with the special people in your life. And it doesn't have to be a romantic partner. There's so much we can learn about our friends and family as well. That is the gift of deep relationships. No matter what kind they are, you're always getting to know someone, even after all these years. You can use our questions as a jumping off point. We will have a list of all the questions Bryan and I asked each other up on the show notes at emilylay.com. Thank you so much for listening to the Simplified podcast. I hope today's episode made you laugh and gave you some ideas on ways you can connect a little more deeply with your people. You can find show notes for this episode at emilylay.com/podcast, where you can check out links and resources I mentioned here, and you can shop the Simplified brand of planners and products. And if you follow me on social, then you might have seen some exciting news I shared a few weeks ago. I have written a children's book. It is my very first. I'm so proud of it. It's called You're Always Enough and More Than I Hoped For. I deeply want this book to remind kids of all ages that they're always enough and that God made them who they are on purpose for a purpose. It comes out in May, but you can pre-order your copy right now so it arrives to your doorstep the moment it comes out. Okay, friends, I appreciate you listening to this show. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, would you do me a quick favor? Would you rate and review this show at your favorite podcast provider? It's a tiny thing that really, really, really helps this show find more people who might enjoy it. I appreciate you. And until next time, thank you so much for listening. Bye.